himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Mileham in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Leabadine and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot to have fun. Yeah. It's all about the entertainment, so I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching. And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros is going to get it. Haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Sunday evening of racing, and well, we're joined by myself on the booth in my own tonight with the Tanso Racing Group out on display here in Germany. Last round out, we were also in Germany. We're at the Hockenheimring. We've now gone 2 hours and 36 minutes up northwest in Germany to land us back at the Nurburgring then for round 2. So there's a lot of good racing up ahead. There's a lot to look forward to here. We're on the GP track, so we aren't doing the full ring, so no one panic. It's not going to be a 2-lap race or anything like that. We are going to be sitting here and going around the GP Strecke for a few laps. Now, the points tonight, I do have to apologise. That's partly on my shoulders there. It's probably all on my shoulders, to be honest. But the points tonight, as you see, we're getting towards the end of qualifying, so I'll make this quick. I'm not able to show you, but I can read them out. So in the pros, we'll just go through the drivers. We've got Harry Fox leading at the minute. Alex Sylvester, 65 points in P2. And Ryan Dudley in P3 on 64. Daniel Ware in P4 on 63. Mark Brown on 61. Aaron Hobson level with Mark Brown on 61. John Sylvester just behind that with 58 points. Darren Morrison just behind with 55. Neil Rocks with 51. David Smith with 45. Martin Hobson with 43. Mark Proctor with 41. And Scott Kostrick with 41 as well. Level with Mr. Proctor. Lee Rylands there at the bottom of the AMs. At the pros with 33 points. In the AMs, smaller setup, but we've got Ayrton Hadfield leading in the minute with 39 points. Rick Wishon in P2 there with 32 points. Adrian Hadfield level with 32 points as well, but he takes the P3 spot. Dave Clark is P4 with 29 points. Stuart Briley P5 with 24 points. JT Johnston level P6 with 24 points. Kevin Randall 21 points. Pete McKendrick 9 points there. So that is your standings for the championship there, but we're going to go straight into your grid ready for race 1. We've got Alex Sylvester, who was quickest in qualifying there, followed by John Sylvester, the two Sylvesters leading the line. Dan Warren P3, Ryan Dudley P4, Aaron Hobson P5, Harry Fox P6, Eric Cronenberg P7, Shane Cotton P8, Lee Rylands P9, and then we have Neil Rocks rounding off your top 10. Adrian Hadfield is leading the line for the AMS as it stands at the moment. He's in P11. Conor McKendrick P12. Ayrton Hadfield P13. Kevin Randall P14. Stuart Briley P15. Dave Clark P16. John Johnston P17. Stephen Parker Hamilton P18. Tom Wilson, a newcomer by the looks of it, who's P19. Darryl Morrison P20 overall, and then Martin Lee is P21. So we'll just switch back to your leader then, who should be getting on track in just a moment's time. There we go. So we have the grid as it stands. Just wait for all these drivers to be ready. Here we go. So here's your grid. We're waiting for just the first couple of cars to join us on said grid, and then we'll be underway here for round 2 with the Tanso Racing Group here. Wait for them to get started. Hopefully everyone gets off to a nice clean start then today, with both the Sylvesters leading the line. We can look at John here. We'll have them both in shot there. P1 and P2 for both the Sylvesters. And I think it's the Simtech boys that are following just behind that as well. So going to be close right off the start here. Just done a quick sound check. Everything sounds all good. Hope you all are happy to be here tonight, and looking forward to some good racing. Phil across the pond, nice to see you. Mike at Elms, I've read your message. It's a shame you can't be here tonight, but I can't wait to see who comes out on top. Same here, buddy, same here. I reckon it's probably going to be one of the Sylvesters, but they'll be battling out nice and hard, I'm sure, going into the first couple of turns, and the lights are up here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's green, green, green. Great start there for P4 of Ryan Dudley. And Dan Wareham's pushed up into P2 as it stands at the moment. So he's got his nose out front, but he has the outside line. He's the car there on the far right-hand side of your screen. And well, John Sylvester's dropped down to P4 as it stands. Alex Sylvester goes through in the lead, through turn 1. The battle between those two is going to be tight up the top. And it looks like I've had some crashes and some battling down at the bottom end of the field, which is not good to see. Really early doors for these cars to be having collisions, but they're still going 2 by 2. The Simtech guys, they're kind of in a Sylvester sandwich as it stands at the moment. So they've got one Sylvester out front, one behind, but it looks like he's fallen off because Harry Fox has now snuck his way in there as well, as these guys are coming around. Well, within the first couple of corners really of lap 1 of race 1 tonight, it's been pretty close stuff between the Simtech boys and the Sylvesters, and while there's carnage in the background once again, and it seems like there's going to be a lot of that now looking forward to this race, because all these cars are very close together, and the only car that isn't on any of our standings for pros or AMs is Tom Wilson, which registers him as 1 lap down, but judging by the number there, he has a triple number. So he's in the hundreds, which means he will be in the pro category there. So anyone that is 1 to 99 is in the ABS, anyone 100 plus is in the pros. So keep an eye on that, and yeah, if we don't have anyone such as Tom Wilson listed as any colours there, you'll see what category or class they'll be fighting in. Shane Cotton at a minute putting the fight up with Ayrton Hadfield, your leader of the AMs in the championship standings as it stands at this moment going into race 2. But Ayrton is leading out the AMs in general in this race as well, so he's currently P1 as it stands. Kevin Randall is P2, but he's going to have Stuart Briley coming up on his tail now as it stands. There we go, so there's so many close cars at the moment. King Cobra, God, I missed it. Bethany Wareham, shout out to Daniel Wareham tonight. Happy big birthday, good luck. Okay, so we have a Daniel Wareham birthday out on the grid tonight, and while he's currently sitting in P3, here he is at the moment. You can see him there, the 3rd car in the row in this battle, and we'll just jump on board with him. This is his view as it stands at the moment. He's going to go for the inside line leading into turn 1. There's the 100 board, so just after that is the braking point. He's gone on the brakes. Can he get that position done? There you go, side by side. He's got that position. He's got his nose in front, but he's going to have the outside line to his teammate now, who's going to have the inside, and Dudley does take that position, but can he hold it? Here's what Daniel Wareham's not an easy person to defend against. He's got some pace, and especially since it's his birthday, he's going to be racing to try and get that birthday cake as soon as possible after this race. I'm sure he'll want to get his chompers around that, but they're coming around now for your 2nd lap of this race. First 3 minutes have gone by, and well, unfortunately it looks like we've lost Ayrton Hadfield, the leader of the AM, so that's going to shape up and mix up the championship standings after this race. So the points will swap around, and we may see Ayrton drop a couple of positions or two. Depends if he can get back out and possibly have a good race too, because remember there is a reverse grid. But still, at the minute, it seems to be the battle between Wareham and Dudley. Their pace is very similar, but they are teammates, so they need to try and work together to keep Harry Fox behind them and try and catch up to one half of the Sylvesters, which is Alex leading out in front. John Sylvester, who was P2 on the grid, has made his way down to P11, unfortunately. So John Sylvester has lost 8 positions at the minute as it stands, and not the best of scenarios for him, unfortunately, so far. But Dan Wareham again with the light blue wheels there on his Simtech car, just in the background there behind Mr. Dudley. He's going to try and get the well, I imagine the inside line over the next couple of corners to get that move done. But we're quickly going to jump to Mr. Sylvester, who's gone up the inside, fighting his way back up into the top 10, and well, he really does need to try and get his foot down to get as many points as he possibly can. Darryl Morrison is just up the road, and well, that was one man that I had a bit of confusion on in the points before, because one said AM, one said pro, but I can confirm he is in the pro category, and there he is in his green car, just ahead of Mr. Sylvester. The battle behind at the minute is between Hobson and Braley, and well, it looks like Hobson's going to come out on top. Braley's going to go early on the brakes to let Hobson go through, and well, I will say, what a livery we have here. I do actually quite like the colour combination there for Stephen Parker Hamilton, another newcomer. We just got him in just before the start of the race, so he is in here, and I'm sure he'll be enjoying himself out on track as it stands at the moment. but he's going to go side by side as it stands with Stuart Briley up the home straight. You've got one of the Hadfields in the background with the green bonnet, and that's Adrian. That's the way to tell the difference, is the bonnet piece. One's green and one's the original blue of the livery. Ayrton is back out on track, I can confirm that. He's quite a bit away from the pack though, which is a bit unfortunate, but he is back out on track. And the battle for 12th at the minute, you can see the time between Stephen Parker Hamilton and Stuart Briley as it stands at the moment. Daniel Wareham, unfortunately, I think the talk about the cake got him a bit too excited up here in the booth, and well, he's lost one position, not too bad, still P4, still within a shout for the top 3 though, so we'll keep an eye on him as the race goes on. But Aaron Hobson is going to try and get the move done on Darryl Morrison, and well, this is the fight for P10 as it stands at the moment. And oh, you can see Hobson trying to stick his nose up the inside. Morrison knew he was there. Oh, car getting a bit squirrely just outside that corner. And well, they're going to both maintain their vehicles, and Morrison gave a good amount of respect to the incoming car of Mr. Aaron Hobson on the inside there, so he was fully aware of where that car was, and great awareness from both drivers really. They're going to go side by side once again on the exit of the hairpin there, which is really the bottom of the track when you look at the track map, which we'll get up for you in just a couple of moments time here. And well, these guys are going to be coming around now to seal off just over the first 5 minutes, so we've already had some action-packed racing all over the grid. I mean, we've got Harry Fox at the minute trying to put the pressure on Mr. Daniel Wareham, who was taken back into his podium spot. I think possibly a bad exit there in one of the turns for Mr. Harry Fox, because there's not much of a gap between those two, so it wasn't a huge mistake, but it's probably a bit of a lack of traction for Mr. Fox. But as it stands, Mr. Wareham is now fighting in his podium position, and well, he just needs to get his foot down a little bit more to catch up to Ryan Dudley just ahead of him. And well, Ryan Dudley's just a second off Alex Sylvester, the leading Sylvester. He's bringing the trophy home for the family, hopefully, in race 1 here. And well, you can see some of the cars in the background just coming around the corner now. Is Shane Cotton that we're focusing on at the minute. The difference between Shane Cotton and Neil Rocks. Neil Rocks has the purple wing mirrors, and Shane Cotton has the green wing mirrors. John Sylvester, there he goes, in P8 as it stands at the moment. So he's made his way back up the grid a little bit. Let's see where the league owner is then. JT Johnston just fighting down here at the minute for P17, fighting Connor McKendrick, who I believe was another late comer to the league as well, so welcome in Mr. McKendrick. 7/10 split the two cars as it stands at the moment, and then he's got Tom Wilson 28 seconds behind, who is a pro according to his car number there. And well, JT takes a very wide line through turn 1, but manages to hold the cars. A bit of smoke there, so probably a little bit of an earlier incident. Looks like Martin Lee possibly had said incident, but yeah, there's big old carnage at the start of the race. Then let's see if we can find out where it all started. So I do have it as Alex Sylvester had crashed, apparently, who is your leader of the race as it stands at the moment. Coming down into turn 1, Sylvester and Simtek both going side by side, 2 by 2. He's taken a bit of a wide line there. Yeah, there's a bit of contact, but nothing much, so that's gone down as a registered crash. But let's have a little look back here at Adrian Hadfield then. What happened to Mr. Hadfield? There's both the Hadfields together. You can see Ayrton on the right and Adrian on the left there. He's heavy on the brakes, Adrian. And is there going to be contact between any cars there? No contact just yet. So we'll wait to see what happens, because I think this could be where the big crash had initially happened. You can see the Ayrton Hadfield car there just ahead is getting a bit heavy on the back of Lee Rylands. Goes up the inside, and well, can't quite see them now. They're a bit off the screen, and the Castrol Levy's gone for a big dive up the inside there, and he makes the move stick. So I'm not too sure where the incident was for Mr. Adrian Hadfield. JT Johnson apparently had a bit of a situation here on the start of the race, but I have to admit, judging by some of these replays from what I've seen so far, doesn't look like they've actually been proper crashes, and it doesn't look like it'll be there either. So they've all gone down as crashes, but nothing seems to be long lasting on any of these cars. Scott Kostrick is in the chat. Scott, welcome. How's it going, buddy? Shame you're not in this race. Where are you tonight? I felt it would have been a nice little track to see your comic livery going around. Mark Brown, big shout out to Team Simtech. Sorry can't be there tonight, but counting down the days to next week. Mark, so are we, sir. We want to see you back out there. But the Simtech boys at the minute, let's have a little look. So you've got Dan Wareham up here, currently in P2. And then, well, Ryan Dudley is down here, P5. So they've actually done a switcheroo. Not too sure what happened to Ryan Dudley. I do have a report here that says, once again, he crashed on turn 1. So we'll see if he actually crashed on turn 1 or not. It was a bit heavy on the brakes. So you can see Dan Wareham coming into the entrance there, and car just spins it up on the power coming down through turn 1. So he's just done a switcheroo of his teammate, and Dan Wareham takes the P2 position, 1.7 seconds behind your leader of Mr. Sylvester. So here he is coming down. You can see there's your battle in the top 4 there. And, well, one Simtech car, sorry, involved, because Eric Ronenberg is plain pink. He's not just a pink bonnet. So he is just a plain pink, and it's I would say, even though I just got it completely mistaken there, it's quite a recognisable livery, shall we say, because it is just pure pink. But people do make mistakes, as you can tell from what I've just done there. But Lee Rylands at the minute is just pressing on to Mr. Morrison and trying to fight for that P11 as it stands at the minute. No, sorry, P10. He's trying to get within the top 10. And, well, Morrison isn't an easy guy to pass, and you've got the AM there of Stephen Parker Hamilton, who's trying to fight up in amongst the pros as well. And you can see the grid is now perfectly split, half and half, basically, pro and AM. And it looks like Lee Rylands really needs to try and make this move stick, because it's slowing him down a little bit doing this fight in now. And, well, it's given Stephen a bit of a chance to maybe have a bit of a send or go for the move, because at the minute your leader in the AMS is Stephen Parker Hamilton, so he's having a fantastic race so far. He's currently P1 for the AMS, and P11 for the pros is Lee Rylands as it stands right now. Well, no, tell a lie. Tom Wilson will be the last one in the pros, P12. He's got the 3-digit number, so I believe he will be a part of that pro category. Darren Morrison, though, has gone wide, and Lee Rylands has taken that position. Stephen Parker Hamilton moves up as well, so he's split the pattern of half and half. And, well, John Sylvester is now mounting an attack as well, and he's going up the inside line now, leading into turn 1. Can he hold it? Don't go too far wide. You'll let the Whisk Boy through. And, well, he doesn't manage to go too far wide, so he doesn't give that position back again, which is great news for John as he moves up into P7. Shane Cotton, though, he wanted that move to, well, he wanted the sort of cutback, really, on John Sylvester leading out to turn 1, because a lot of people do tend to go for that, and it is quite a powerful move at this track, and it's very beneficial as well if you can nail it. But unfortunately, he didn't quite get that privilege. So these guys are going to be fighting out once more then here at the Nurburgring GP. And, well, we do have some lovely camera angles here tonight, I have to say. This has been one of my favourite places to broadcast already, because some of the camera angles we've got for our disposal tonight, really, for bringing you this coverage is fantastic. I'm already in love with some of these, so can't wait to do some more races here at the Nurburgring. Should be good, but John Sylvester is really looking to make his time at the Nurburgring beneficial and really enjoyable, as he's now going to be pressing the car of Neil Rocks, the other Whisk livery car there. So he's trying to get the Whisk team behind him and join his fellow Sylvester up top. There's 6 cars currently between the two. No, sorry, my maths is completely wrong. There's 5 cars between the two, and he's gone for the inside line up the left-hander there and doesn't quite get it, Mr. Sylvester, so he's lost a bit of time there once again. Not very good for him at all, really, leading up into the final part of the lap now. This is a very quick right-hander. He didn't shut that door, so he's now going to invite Shane Cotton to try and battle him, which is ultimately going to slow him down leading into the chicane, because he can't take that ideal line, really. He's a bit more central on the track to what he'd like to be. Manages to get around there nice and smoothly, though. Doesn't get on the power too early, so maintains his position as it stands at the moment, but Cotton is not going to let that go, so he is going to try and claw that position back and claw that time back as well. Daniel Wareham's just gone quickest, by the way, 2 minutes 18, and well, I will say he's knocked a second out in the gap between himself and the leader of Alex Sylvester, so he's coming for the race win by the looks of it, is Mr. Wareham. So that time does fall to 9/10 now, though, so hopefully he can get his foot down a bit more, find some time in some of these corners. You can see John Sylvester, well, given a bit of smoke there, and well, he done very well to keep control of his car, the white and black livery there on Mr. Sylvester's vehicle, and I think that's just the new look for the Sylvesters this season, just the plain white and black. I do quite like it, I have to admit. It's quite smart, and it's it looks to be like a full carbon fibre effect as well, which is quite nice to see. on that car there. So as it stands at the minute, your closest battle is these two. And well, let's have a little look at what it looks like for Mr. John Sylvester. You can see here that this is all his view at the minute. The Don't Panic spoiler, which is just very iconic for the Tanso Racing Group. We do see it a lot on our broadcasts. We do see the back of that quite a lot. Week in, week out, we always see Don't Panic on the spoiler. And well, you gotta not panic in that final corner. Neil Rocks in that big hairpin at the bottom of the track, because well, that could cost you a position. And well, the back end of his car did slightly peel out, but he managed to hold it in, and John Sylvester is going to come up on the attack. You can see how close they are now. Not much splitting the two at all. Here we go then, Cameron. Nice close down. You can see how close these guys are going to be. Side by side, almost leading around the left-hander here. And well, they're both gone wide. Could that be a time penalty for either car? They're still side by side. This is going to bring the teammate, the Whisk teammate of Shane Cotton into play. And well, Neil Rocks and Shane Cotton, sorry, are the two Whisk boys, and they've brought themselves back into play, really. They've brought each other into this battle to sort of double team against Mr. Sylvester, which is what they're trying to do here. And they're going to go into this chicane exactly how they were. And while there's contact there between Sylvester and Neil Rocks, Sylvester is still going, but very slowly, and unfortunately Neil Rocks is now facing the wrong way. He's dipped onto the grass to help him spin around nice and quickly, and they're going to try and get back out there on track as soon as possible. But John Sylvester unfortunately makes the contact there, and well, he's managed to keep going in P7. He hasn't necessarily lost a position or gained anything, but the other Whisk livery car there, Shane Cotton, has now escaped into the distance. There's a big gap between those two now, and Sylvester needs to defend against Aaron Hobson, who nearly went for the outside line there, didn't quite get it. Alex Sylvester has moved down to P2 though, while we were focusing on that battle, on that little incident there, and Harry Fox is now brought into this, so this is now a pack of three. This is for the race lead. These are your podium sitters as it stands at the moment. On board with Alex Sylvester here, P2. He's the middle of this sandwich, and well, he's really running the race for the Sylvesters as it stands at the moment. We saw John quite dominant last season, and Alex has come out his shell at the Nurburgring today, and he's really trying to put the pressure on to Mr. Wareham in the Simtech livery car. They're out leading your race as it stands at the minute on his birthday, from what I believe, from Bethany Wareham in the YouTube chat there. Guys, don't forget, if you are enjoying the racing or the broadcasting from myself, you don't have to say yes that you are, but if you are enjoying what you're seeing here, please do make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel to be updated on all your latest racing information, and updating on all the latest Alex Sylvester overtakes, because he's trying to get one here on Mr. Daniel Wareham. He's going to try and send it side by side. This is going to cause them a bit of time though to Harry Fox trying to put these sends up the inside, because that's going to ultimately slow those two cars down and bring Mr. Fox into the battle a bit more than what he is already. There's only 1/10 split in the two. Splitting the front two and P3, and well, this is going to get very tight and very hairy, I think, as they're going to go side by side now into the chicane. Still side by side, they're going to hold it, and well, it looks like Wareham's gone a bit wide there. Car got a bit frisky, and they're going 3 wide. What a display here. Harry Fox is going to capitalise, taking the inside line. He's going to hold it. He now gets out in front of the race and leads your race now, coming into the last couple of minutes here. Let's jump on board, and well, you can see Barney's just standing there in the steward box, and yeah, no, there's a third Barney. There's 3 Barneys on the pit straight, so there's no flag yet, so we do have at least another lap or 2 of racing yet to go. And well, Alex Sylvester has now dropped to P3. He was leading the race for the Sylvesters. He's still up in a podium position though, so it's a great position to be in. Not going to downhearten anything about that, but Dan Wareham at the minute is back in the lead of the race. Harry Fox is doing very well to keep that pressure on, and Mr. Wareham is coming around now, and this will be the last lap next time round. So as soon as they go over that home straight, shall we say, that will be the white flag as they go side by side once again, coming around here at the Nurburgring. What display we're having from these GR86s. I did think there may be a bit more space between all these drivers, but I have to admit these 3 kept it nice and close, and for the first 3-4 laps the whole field was just within a couple of tenths of each other. Conor McKendrick unfortunately has had a bit of a a bit of an off, shall we say. So hopefully nothing too bad and he's able to carry on. Let's get your track map up then. So here we go. You can see how big this track really is for these GR86s. There's quite a lot of space out there as it stands. So these guys are still going around nice and tidily. No contact between the top three, which I have to admit is very impressive indeed. But Mr. Wareham, on his birthday, is going to hold the outside line to Harry Fox and try and maintain that position, which he does. He's actually gained a bit of an advantage by holding the outside line, so carry that momentum. But Harry's going to try and get the inside line possibly here. Doesn't quite have the momentum to do it straight out of the corner exit, but he's got the speed. You can see that time now going down. They're going to be side by side. Harry's now going to have the position. He's going to have the slight advantage in momentum. Are they going to send it 3 wide? Wareham's gone a little defensive there to stop Sylvester from sending it up, because Wareham's going to send it on the inside of the chicane, and he's going to get the position right in front of Harry Fox. What an overtake there mid-chicane. He managed to get his whole entire car in front of Mr. Fox and gain a big advantage, because you can see now the gap has formed up to 7/10, and this is the last lap, because here we go across the line. Then here's your leader for Dan Wareham. And, well, which line is it? I believe it's the one that we're sitting above right now. There he goes. So there's your race leader. And Alex Sylvester comes across 9/10 behind. Harry Fox finishes in P3. He just had a slightly less of a run and slightly less momentum coming out of that final turn by the looks of it, as we wait for the rest of these cars to come across. But I didn't see any white flags there on the penultimate lap, so unless I completely missed it, I'd be curious if these drivers actually saw anything, because we sat in the cockpit with, I think it was Mr. Wareham or Sylvester for the entire straight, and no flags were shown, so they done very well to notice that, because, well, I certainly didn't. If they noticed it at all, they might have been told by their crew chiefs. But we'll wait for the final cars to come across the line, and I think the actual line that they're taking as the start-finish line isn't the one we're sitting above, which is what I thought it would be. It's the first one they come across, which you can see is just a bit down the straight, just where Conor McKendrick has come across now. So, Callum Kendrick doing a sterling job down there then in P16. Not a bad start to your Tanso career with them. Not bad at all. Tom Wilson also coming across the line now. Well, any minute now. There he goes. John Johnston also across the line, just waiting for Ayrton Hadfield. Unfortunately, the leader of the AMS didn't have the best race there, but let's see if he can bring him back for race 2. Remember, there will be a reverse grid though, so it will affect some drivers, but not all. Martin Lee, unfortunately 5 laps down, was in the pit for a majority of that race there as well. So we'll bring you your Heat 1 results then. Let's bring those bad boys up and have a look at where everyone finished, as they just disappear on me just like that. Fantastic. There we go. So Dan Wareham was your race winner on his birthday as well. Beth Wareham, if you are in the chat, please do, if he doesn't mind sharing it. Do we have an age for Mr. Wareham today? But Alex Sylvester, P2. Harry Fox, P3. That's your top 3 podium sitters for race 1. Eric Ronenberg, just missing out on the podium there, P4. Ryan Dudley, P5. Shane Cotton, P6. John Sylvester, P7. Aaron Hobson, P8. Darryl Morrison, P9. Stephen Parker Hamilton, fantastic race from him. Leader of the AMS there in P10. In front of the pro of Neil Rocks, P11. Unfortunate for Neil Rocks with the earlier incident with John Sylvester. Knocks him down a few positions, but Stuart Briley, P12. Adrian Hadfield, P13. Dave Clark, P14. Lee Rylands, P15. Conor McKendrick, P16. John Johnston, P17. Tom Wilson is P18 then, and for the rest of your grid are as follows: Ayrton Hadfield, P19, Kevin Randall, P20, and Martin Lee, unfortunately, P21. Rounding off your entire grid there for Heat 1. So we'll get ready for Heat 2 here in a few minutes, because we do have a slight wait now as we wait for the cars to either appear on track for us to have a little look at, and here is one of them now, Mr. Sylvester, who was battling for the podium in race 1, and what a race 1 he had indeed. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to some of these drivers after this race as well, and talk through how they're feeling during this race 1. And well, I think race 2 is certainly going to be very interesting when that gets brought to us very shortly, and when the grid comes out we'll make sure to bring you that as soon as possible. I'm going to take a quick swig of my drink here though, so there'll be no one talking for the next couple of seconds, so don't change your audio. It's not any issues, it's just me having a drink. Well, there we go. My drink time is now over. I've had that. Well, Alex Sylvester had a great race won there, and well, the fact that we had our top three battling out the entire race and not making any contact at all as well is impeccable. We had it for good sort of first couple of laps, at least first sort of 5-6 laps. Alex Sylvester just seemed to cruise away from the rest of the pack, and then it started to close up, and then things got a bit tight towards the end of the race, and it stayed tight right up until the checkered flag. And well, let's have a little look then. Is Ryan Dudley going to go out? No, he's just going to tease us. He's going to go to the end of the pit, stop and just stare. So we're in a death stare with Mr. Dudley. I think he's heard me talking about him, so he's going again. No, he's teasing us again. He's stopped once again in the pit lane, and well, Dave Clark is busy spinning it up on track by the looks of things. He's getting used to the wheel spin. Revs go up, and there he goes. He's underway. A lot of wheel spin there, doing a couple of practice starts by the looks of it. The big Union Jack on the back for Mr. Dave Clark there as well. A very bright livery, I have to say, out of some of the ones we've seen here tonight. Here he is then, the league owner, the league runner, well, whatever you like to call him. I don't know what else people call him. I don't know what nicknames some of the other drivers have for him out there. I'm sure there's some, there's got to be some, there always is for league owners, but there he is then, Mr. John Johnston, the runner of the Tanso Racing Group, and he did want me to mention something today. And, well, I'll get the details up about it here in just 2 seconds. Where are we looking? Here we are. So, he wanted me to mention that people of the Tanso Racing Group, they've done very well to fund the commentary and broadcasting for this season. They do have a raffle at the minute for a iRacing iFlag, and well, fantastic bit of kit worth over £60, and it's used in conjunction with SimHub. It will show you what gear you're in, blue, yellow and green flags, spot of warnings left and right, full rev lights, and like I say, it's worth over £60. So there is a raffle going on with the Tanso Group at the minute, so make sure you get yourselves involved with that. But I was going to cut it short because we're going to bring you your grid now for race 2. There we go then. So Lee Rylands leads on P1, followed by Dave Clark, then Adrian Hadfield, Stuart Brierley, Neil Rocks, Stephen Parker Hamilton, Darren Morrison, Aaron Hobson, John Sylvester, Shane Cotton. That's your round or lead up to the top 10, and Ryan Dudley there, P11, Eric Ronenberg, P12. Bring your rest of your grid here in just a second. There we go, now it's moving. Harry Fox, P13, Alex Sylvester, P14, Dan Warren, P15, Conor McKendrick, P16, Jonah Johnson, P17, P18 for Tom Wilson, Ayrton Hadfield, P19, Kevin Randall, P20, Martin Lee, P21. And by the sounds of it, we are getting ready to go here, and yep, just in time. There would look like a bit of a jump start there for Mr. Morrison. Lee Rylands gets off to a good start though nonetheless. And well, here we go. Look at these cars then. 3-4 wide for some of these boys. Out here as it stands at the moment, some started from the pits. Ryan Dudley and Dan Wareham both started from the pit on the pit exit at the minute. Conor McKendrick isn't going to be out by the looks of things. And it says a lot of these cars crashed. I think what it is when they go wide through turn 1, I think that registers as a crash for whatever reason. We'll just look back a little bit here because Neil Rocks, who was getting a bit close to John Sylvester, and unfortunately having a bit of contact there, looking to redeem what happened in race 1 and get a nice sturdy position for race 2. Remember the feature race, as you can see in bright green at the top there, that is is going to be slightly longer than race 1. So we are treated to an extra 5 minutes of racing here as well, as we wait for the grid to settle down a bit, but at the minute it looks like it's not going to. And well, let's have a little look at this man then. He's just made contact with Adrian Hadfield, who is currently P3 in the AMS as it stands at the moment. So Mr. Morrison just had a little bit of contact, nothing too major. As you can see, Adrian Hadfield there trying to catch up to Mr. Morrison, get the move done. He's gone very wide now out of that final hairpin, which is going to let a few cars past, and there's a spin. And who was that's gone? That looked like was it a Whiskins livery? No, it wasn't. Was it Dudley? Oh, I think it was Dudders. No, it wasn't Dudley. It was Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson in the Simtech livery there has gone round. I recognised the livery, and I've been trying to scramble around looking for it, and I couldn't find it anyway because every Simtech person I clicked on happened to be out on track still racing. So unfortunate for Tom Wilson there, who's actually gone to the pits by the looks of things. In fact, no, he hasn't. No, it was just a slight temporary glitch, but Ayrton Hadfield, as it stands at the moment, is trying to put the fight on and bring Family Feud into the Nurburgring as he closes up towards Adrian Hadfield. The battle for the AMS P3 by the looks of it at the minute, and he's got a bit later on the break, so he did get a slight advantage there on Adrian Hadfield, did Ayrton. So he's going to be looking to try and sneak up the inside, and well, lo and behold, just as I say that, he did look up the inside line. I think he's more trying to make his relative there aware that he's in right behind, and he'll be making a move soon, I'm sure. But look at this list of cars we have coming down here then. There we go, they're all in a perfect line. And well, that must be pleasing on the eye for some. As you can see, they're going side by side into turn 1 now. Harry Fox does get the position, and he's currently in P2 as it stands. Dave Clark just behind there with his I'm going to call it high-vis livery. It's bright as anything, and you can definitely notice that no matter where you are watching this race from, whether you're watching it in your living room, from the sides of the Nürburgring, or in your kitchen, you're going to see that wherever you stand. And he's currently in the podium standings, well, with quite a long train behind him by the looks of things, and Neil Rocks is going to be one of those people to try and dethrone his podium position, and well, he does so technically as it stands at the moment. He's currently P3, he's got his nose in front, but Dave Clark's going to hold his own up the inside. Doesn't have enough to claim that position though. Neil Rocks has got more momentum, and it's very beneficial, I have to admit, when you overtake on the outside line. It gives you so much more momentum than the person you're holding to the inside. So it does seem to be a big benefit to go around the outside of most cars here on this track. Eric Ronenberg at the minute is trying to get tied up in this battle. There's a bit of contact there between Hobson and Stuart Briley, I believe, and well, there's a bit of contact there for Eric Ronenberg as well, a bit of bumper to bumper, and these guys are going to get ultra close now. Look at a battle we have here. These cars also like chopping and changing all around the track, left to right, forward, back, everywhere you look, they're all moving around. Dave Clark, be careful on those rumble strips, mate. You could end up spinning that car very easily. We've seen it once or twice in race 1. Not saying he can't hold his own, but it does get a bit squirrely in these cars, and well, I have to admit, they're doing a very good job. They're doing much better than what I would be doing out there if I was racing with these guys tonight. And well, Dave Clark's going to concede the position now to Aaron Hobson, who does come through and now is on the back of Mr. Neil Rocks in the Whisk livery team there. Eric Ronenberg in his bright pink versus lime green on the home straight. Then they're almost going side by side. In fact, they will be in the next couple of seconds, I imagine. Let's have a little look at this, and yep, they're very close to it, corner to corner at the minute. All Eric Ronenberg needs to do is a bit later on the brakes, and he'll have this position in the bag as long as the cutback isn't there for Dave Clark. Is it going to be there? He's going to look for it possibly. Oh, he's had a Sylvester up the inside. He's got Alex Sylvester up the inside, so he didn't quite have the space to make said move. And Alex Sylvester is now going to be battling with Stuart Briley just here in the background, then behind Dave Clark. And he's actually going to try and push up next to Dave Clark and try and get the inside line for the next turn. I don't think he's going to do it, no, but he's going to have it on Stuart Briley, and he's still going to be able to put the pressure on to Dave Clark. And Lee Rylands is round. Lee Rylands has fallen down the grid, unfortunately. He's down in P12 as it stands at the moment. He got a good start off the grid earlier in the race, I believe started P1 overall as well, so it's very unfortunate that he is now spun around and facing the wrong way. Hopefully he can get back going very quickly and try and hold on to as many points as he can, and by the looks of it, he's fallen down quite horrendously, down into P17 at the moment, and well, Tom Wilson's catching him very quickly. Is Tom Wilson going to get the move done? Doesn't look like he is. So he saves himself from Mr. Wilson. Battle at the minute is Alex Sylvester and Dave Clark going at it, and well, they're bumper to bumper as it stands at the moment, and well, can Sylvester get the inside line? Can he get the move done on Mr. Dave Clark? It's going to be a tight one, but if he can do it, it's going to be so beneficial for him, because if he can get past the am here of Mr. Dave Clark, he can start trying to reel in Eric Ronenberg, because the more that these guys fight, the further away they're getting from Eric, and Eric can kind of settle down a bit more, and well, he's going to send it to Dave Clark there, up the inside. And well, what a move that was, and there's a bit of chopping and changing, as it looks like Aaron Hobson has gone off. He has indeed. Let's have a little look at what happened to Mr. Hobson then. Coming up here with the Platinum Racing team into a fairly quick left-hander, and the car looks like it just, yeah, the back end goes, he catches it, oh, nearly flips it, and then into the barrier. I believe there is no damage though, so he's lost quite a few positions there, unfortunately. John back live with him at the minute. He's in P11. Dan Wareham at the minute is P12. Find it out with the Hadfields. There is Ayrton, no, sorry, Adrian. I'm getting it mistaken now. Adrian in with the green bonnet just behind there. So the battle of the Hadfields are just behind. And whoa, Ayrton, easy now. You don't want to be doing anything silly. The last thing you need is that you don't get fed in the evenings there, because you don't want to be pushing your family members off track. And it looks like they're actually going to do a bit of switcheroo, and Ayrton does now lead for the Hadfields. He's swapped position with Adrian. I think Adrian was like, yeah, I've had enough of this, you go, I'll sit back here. So they've now got Johnny Johnston between the two Hadfields as well. So Johnston's having a good tidy little race here in P14 as it stands at the moment. But he's splitting up the two Hadfields right now, and well, let's have a little look for your birthday boy there, Mr. Dan Wareham. He's currently P12, leading in front of Ayrton Hadfield as it stands at the moment. Stephen Parker Hamilton is P3 as it stands with your AMS in what I'd say is probably my favourite livery. Seeing as Scott Kostrick isn't with us tonight, I have to say Stephen Parker Hamilton's livery, I think that takes the biscuit for me. Beautiful livery. Let me know in the YouTube chat if there's any other livery recommendations, or any that you like the look of out there, and it can't be your own team either, because I know we do have some people supporting the West Team livery boys and the Simtech out in the YouTube chat. So if there are any other liveries out there that you like the look of, please do let me know. We'll take a look at some during race 2. But nearly your first 10 minutes of race 2 have gone by already, and well, it's been fairly action-packed. We've lost Martin Lee, unfortunately, and while the rest of the cars are still going, they're side by side as a minute with Dave Clark, and oh, there's contact. There's big contact. Those two are probably going to go straight into the wall. Yep, Dave Clark leads them into the wall, unfortunately, in reverse, and well, he's just going to be pushed back on track pretty much by a spinning Simtech livery car there, and that is Ryan Dudley, I believe. Yeah, Ryan Dudley and Dave Clark had to come in together, unfortunately, and well, that's a shame, because they've both dropped down a lot of positions now. And oh, Dave Clark, you've got to be careful, son. You're going to lose a few more, as Adrian Hadfield does well to get through that bit of bumper, door to door. And Adrian Hadfield is actually going to lose out of position to Tom Wilson by the looks of it there. So Tom Wilson gets out in front. Unfortunately, Johnston is round, and I'm sure Johnston won't want me to replay this, but for the I'm sure for the enjoyment of the rest of the league, they'd want to see that spin. Unfortunately, he just spun up through the chicane there, so unfortunate for Mr. Johnston. He'll probably kill me later for showing that, but Ayrton Hadfield at the minute still in front. He's your leader of the Hadfield family tree as it stands right now, and well, he's chasing down Daniel Wareham. There's a bit of time between the two though, so he's got a bit of work to do for that, and Lee Rylands is making some moves at the minute on the other Hadfield. Adrian back here for battle for P14 as it stands at the moment. You can see the time between the three cars there was very close, but then Adrian seemed to either get a bit of a bad exit or back off a little bit. I think he'd rather just let the two cars in front battle it out and see what comes of that then. Car number 182 of Lee Rylands obviously had a very good start at the beginning of this race, and unfortunately dropped down after an earlier incident, and well, he's going to try and fight his way back up the course, I'm sure, and well, he's got a bit of time to do it. He's got just under 15 minutes to try and get his Toon Army car back up the grid and get some points on the board. Ryan Dudley and Tom Wilson are now bumper to bumper almost. Same livery. I believe they're racing for the same team since they're running the same livery, but we'll see what happens. You know, the whole team play could go out the window here. Who knows? And Dave Clark's a bit off track there, a bit squirrely in the background. Will these guys let each other by? Will Wilson let Dudley by? Is Dudley quicker? Is he slower? There's a lot of questions that these guys have to think about, like, very quickly out here on the track, because they're going to go side by side now into the quick left-hander, and Dudley's going to take that position. And is Tom Wilson going to be able to fight back? Doesn't look like he's going to have the momentum to do so, unfortunately. So Dudley's going to power on through and see how far up the field he can get. And it looks like I've had reports that Darryl Morrison, unfortunately, has had a incident. And he's down in P19, sadly, for him at the moment. But Stephen Parker Hamilton, at the minute, is battling out side by side with Aaron Hobson. The battle for 7th. He's going to have the inside line, but Hobson is going to have a major advantage, almost like a boost advantage, as he goes down the home straight, because he's going to have that momentum for taking that outside line. And what a line that was, because that lands him up into P7. Stuart Briley in P9 with the new updated livery for Mr. Briley by the looks of it, and I have to admit I do quite like the look of that. Very nice indeed. Always nice to see a new look out there for some of these drivers that have been in the previous seasons, as Briley looks to try and get close to Stephen Parker Hamilton to make a move as soon as possible. Unfortunately, Ayrton Hadfield is in the pit lane, so it's not good for Ayrton Hadfield, who was your leader of the AMS leading into round 2 here tonight. Unfortunately, that I'm always dead certain that will change with 2 incidents where Ayrton has ended up in the pit lane. So back on track then with Adrian Hadfield. Car number 5 in P14, just behind the Toon Army car of Lee Rylands there, who's down 1 position as it stands at the moment. But Stephen Parker Hamilton is the highest gainer in this session. Let's see if we can get that up there. So instead of the car numbers, we'll go up there, gains and losses. You can see there the battle between P1 and 2. In fact, John Sylvester and Harry Fox. We haven't been up at the top of the table much of this race at all, but these two are going at it. There are only a couple of attempts between these two. We'll stick on board here for a couple of moments, see what unfolds between these guys. And Harry Fox is up 11 positions. John Sylvester up 8 and Eric Ronenberg up 9. If Eric can finish on the podium, that'll be fantastic for him. He just missed out in race 1, finishing P4, and well, P3 in race 2. That'll be very consistent results, should we say. And wow, what a bit of airtime we got there from John Sylvester leading into the chicane, getting a bit of a push there from Harry Fox. I'm sure it's a bit of friendly pushing, but Harry Fox will want that position at any cost, so he's going to try and get past John Sylvester. Does he have the run? The time's going down very slightly, but he'd have to go very late on the brakes to get the move done into turn 1. We'll see what happens here. Car seems a bit squirrely. I think he's just kind of zipping it left to right very slightly. Maybe just getting a little extra heat in them tyres or something, but they should be up to temperature by now. And he's gone heavy on the brakes, but taking a very wide line, almost trying to get the cut back, even though he wasn't near John, which is a bit interesting. But unfortunately, that doesn't do him any favours, Mr. Fox, and he falls down now. He's nearly 6 tenths back. He is, in fact, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths back now. And well, he's got to try and damage limitation and try and claw that time back, because Eric Ronenberg is getting close now as well. Let's have a look now for Darryl Morrison here, who is a lot further down the grid than what he'd like, I'm sure, but he's currently very close to Ayrton Hadfield, and this is the battle between Pro and Am. And it's good to see, no matter where they are in the grid, that these guys will take the fight to each other. Ayrton does have some good pace in that car, as we've seen it in previous rounds and last season as well. But is he going to be able to defend against Morrison? He isn't, because Morrison's got that inside line, and well, these guys are going to have a lovely display. Lovely time for some photos, by the way. So if there's any Hadfield family members that are very good with photography, get yourselves to the Nurburgring, because there's some good photo opportunities here between these two. And well, the leaders are now closing that time down once again. 2 tenths split the top 2 cars as it stands at the moment. There we go. So it's got very, very hot in this room very quickly. So many drink breaks are needed, but that should be the last one now. I should be okay now till the end of the race, because according to my thermometer, it's now 31 degrees in the booth at the moment. So Alex Sylvester is the other man, a part of the family tree. He's just there in the background now between these guys, and you can see him there. Oh, there's been a Whisk livery car off in the background. I think that'll be Neil Rocks, because he's just conceded 2 positions very quickly there. So unfortunately, Neil Rocks has now moved down to P9, which brings Sylvester, John Sylvester in P1 and Alex Sylvester now into P4. So we cannot have any slip-ups from the top 3, because any slip-ups from them means that the other Sylvester will pounce and will find himself onto the podium. So they've got to keep it nice and clean, but I'm sure they can do that. We had a fantastic display from the top 3 in race 1, so hopefully we'll have the same again in race 2. Helen Morrison, watch out for Darren Morrison falling asleep at the wheel. He's just off the back of a 24-hour race at Spa. Oh, okay, so Mr. Morrison had done the 24-hour race at Spa. So, well, Helen, if you are still in chat with us, do you know what position Mr. Darrell Morrison finished? If you do and don't mind sharing, please do let us know in the JPB YouTube chat. Remember, guys, if you are enjoying the racing or the commentary broadcasting or any of the above, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well here tonight. So make sure you get on that if you possibly can. The more the better. It all helps, and it all is great momentum and what do you call it? A great boost, should we say? Morale boost for the JPB team as well. We love to see the streams doing well, and well, this Tanso one certainly has done that, as the top 2 are still going around really close together now as we get your car numbers back up. There we go. So you can now clearly see the leader of the AMS is Stephen Parker Hamilton, who's P8 currently overall, but he's P1 in the AMS, and there's Stuart Briley P2 with Adrian Hadfield P3. So one of the Hadfields will be on the podium again, and well, he was in round 1 as well. We had 2 podiums for both the Hadfields, which was good to see. Harry Fox at the minute 3/10 behind John Sylvester, and well, Eric Ronneberg's really getting into this battle now as well, because he's catching up to Mr. Fox leading into the final turn. They're going to take a wide entry, riding that curb there, coming onto the inside now, and there they go around the final turn up the home straight. Still your leader, John Sylvester, followed by Harry Fox, splitting him and Eric Ronneberg is 3/10, then a second and 4/10 to Alex Sylvester, who's in P4, so he's ready to pounce on anything that gives from the top 3. And wow, look how close these guys get in the braking zone into turn 1. They're getting very close now, and I think we're about to see some side-by-side battling as Harry Fox nearly sends up the inside there of Mr. Sylvester. So he's got to really look out for these guys behind, so I'm sure he'll be driving partly in his mirrors, hopefully not the whole time, but definitely partly. And well, here we go. Like, you can see how close these 2 are then. There we go. That's the one we were after. So you can see there's not much in it between these 2 at all. And I almost thought the back end of John Sylvester's car there was about to go around, but luckily it did not. And these guys are still going around nice and tidily. There he is then, Mr. Harry Fox in the P2 car there. John Sylvester currently P1 with that skull design on his helmet, and there's Eric Ronneberg currently in P3. We won't forget Alex Sylvester though here, who's having a good race in P4 as it stands at the minute. But these cars have all sort of spread out a little bit more now, because you can see the times are getting a bit more yellow rather than amber. So sorry, orange is probably the correct term, it's probably not amber. Helen Morrison, the team, qualified 23 out of 40 and finished P14. Well, fantastic race there for Darren Morrison's team in the Spa 24 hours. So Mr. Morrison, if you are watching this, or Mr. Morrison's team, if you guys are watching this, or girls, or whoever, then well done on your P14. A fantastic result there, and well, it's always a tough job racing a endurance race, especially a 24-hour, and especially at Spa as well, which isn't always an easy track to race on. So great result there for Mr. Morrison, who's sadly on P18 at the minute, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt coming out of the 24-hour race. And well, Eric Ronenberg hasn't been in that 24-hour race, I don't believe, because he is really pushing now, and he has every ounce of energy you can imagine. He seems like a little child that's just woken up on Christmas Day, run downstairs for all them presents, and well, his 2 presents are right in front of him, which is the P1 or P2 trophy, and that's what he's going for. He doesn't want to settle for that P3. He's going for the top 2 steps on that podium, and well, John Sylvester's doing a sterling job at the minute to keep that lead, and I seem to be hanging around JP a little too much now here at these tracks, because I'm now saying things are a sterling job, so I'm now taking his vocabulary away from him. I mustn't do that. I don't want to be sounding identical to James. That's the last thing we need, but we had a great laugh in the GT4s recently, so that's yet to come as well. Coming up this Wednesday, you got the Clears coming up tomorrow night as well. So looking forward to some fantastic racing here this week on the JPB channel, so make sure you do get yourself subscribed if you haven't already. Coming up now into the final 3 minutes, and I feel like I've talked for an absolute age now for these guys, so I'm sure you all can't wait to get away from here and stop hearing my voice coming through your speakers, your headphones, or however you're listening or watching this broadcast here today, as unfortunately looks like Mr. Johnston is no, he's not out. He's still fighting at the minute against Kevin Randall, but just at the minute this seems to be the battle of battles, and both Sylvesters are now involved in the battle in the top 4, so that has eventually caught up to the top 3. They weren't sort of battling side by side, but I think the slight hesitations of Ronenberg and Harry Fox, whether they send it, do they not, up the inside, outside, or anything like that, that's actually cost them a little bit of time. And well, John Sylvester could well be holding these cars up a little bit to bring the fellow Sylvester of Alex's car there, car number 19, up into the mix as well. And I will say one thing, Mr. Alex Sylvester, you do not have a 3-digit number, sir, so that's one thing I might have to be like, hey Johnson, your rules. But they're going 3 wide as it stands at the moment out of the chicane there, and Eric Ronenberg looks like he's going to take the advantage. No, Harry Fox is going for the outside line. He has the momentum. Now, is that going to give him the biggest benefit on the straight? Let's have a little look here. What camera we now have as these guys come up the straight. Here we go, we're getting more on their level. You can see by the timing tower, you can't tell from the camera angle, but you can tell from the timing tower that Harry Fox is 2/10 ahead of Ronenberg, and both Sylvesters now are turning this into a Eric Ronenberg sandwich. He's the fill-in the middle. There's contact between Harry Fox and Ronenberg. Who's going to capitalise on that? Unfortunately, Ronenberg has gone down to P4. This is where he finished in race 1. Get that speed up, Ronenberg. At least, if you can't catch up to these guys now, because we're quite late on in the race, at least come across in P4. 2 P4s for Eric Ronenberg won't be bad at all. Unfortunate there for him, though. Harry Fox did come over. They were side by side into turn 1, and unfortunately they did have a rather strong coming together in the first turn there of, I believe, which will be the last lap, or second to last lap. You see the 3 wide here. Ronenberg's up the inside, and yeah, there's a bit of a coming together between them two, unfortunately, so take that as you will. And well, the person that was one half of that collision was Harry Fox. The other half is Eric Ronenberg. Eric Ronenberg P4, but Harry Fox is up into P1 as it stands at the moment. John Sylvester P3, but the battle between Alex Sylvester and Harry Fox is going on in a minute, because Alex has got the lead, but Harry Fox has gone corner to corner with Alex Sylvester, and Alex Sylvester's off now, and Harry Fox has now gone down into P2. So another little bit of contact for Harry Fox there, unfortunately. Eric Ronenberg has now made it up into P3, thanks to Alex's little slip up there as well with Mr. Fox. Alex has now fallen down to P5, so he really needs to get that pace up in that car, because just behind is Mr. Daniel Wareham. He's not too far behind either, so there's going to be a bit of time lost there. Aaron Hobson's made his way up into P4 now. Eric Ronenberg here at P3. John Sylvester at the minute is leading your race now by quite some gap. It was very tight between the top 3 or 4 cars, only a couple of attempts splitting all of those involved in the fight, and well, now there is a bit more of a gap, because your leader is 1 second and 3 tenths ahead of Mr. Fox there in P2, who's given the chase, and well, he's gained 2 tenths in that chicane, so he is a little quicker. And it seems to be in the corner exits is where he's at his quickest point. So that's a good thing to keep an eye on. And well, there we go. This is going to be the end of race 2 then, and it's done it again. I've seen no flags at all, but your race winner then for race 2 is John Sylvester, Harry Fox in P2, Eric Ronenberg P3. Fantastic result for him this time round, and well, very consistent again. He had P4 race 1 and P3 race 2, and well, I still cannot seem to see that flag for my life. So I don't know where that checkered flag is, but I must be completely blind, unless it's right at the very start of the straight, because I know it does have a little bit of an odd position here at the Nurburgring. But look how close some of these cars are coming around the grid here, and well, not too sure why we've been flicked to that. Excusez-moi, thank you very much. We'll get John, click on to John Johnston's name then. He's down in P16 as it stands at the moment. Here's some cars still coming side by side. There goes Mr. Dave Clark across the line. Then Adrian Hadfield, Lee Rylands. Those two were the close cars coming around that final turn there. Adrian Hadfield not having a bad race at all for the Hadfield family. Ayrton Hadfield, unfortunately, slipping down the championship standings then after tonight's race. We'll make sure to get them all updated and bring them to next round as well, so we won't miss out on any of the points there. But Ayrton Hadfield is going to be your last car to come around then. Here he comes around the final turn. Show himself any second now. Where is he? There he is. Here he comes, all blue bonnet, coming across the start finish line now. There he goes. So a fantastic race overall then for round 2, race 2. We'll bring you your race results here in just a second. Here we go. So let's get back to the top for your results. So P1 was John Sylvester after a what some I'm sure will say a bit of a controversial end to the racing session there between the top 3 or 4 cars that were involved. I'm sure they'll be talking it out in their channels after the race. But John Sylvester P1, Harry Fox P2, Eric Ronenberg P3, fantastic night for Ronenberg overall, Aaron Hobson P4, Alex Sylvester P5, Dan Wareham P6, Neil Rocks P7, Ryan Dudley P8, P9 is Stuart Briley, and your winner for the AMS in race 2, Stephen Parker Hamilton, rounding off your top 10, finishing P2 in the AMS. Shane Cotton P11, Dave Clark rounds off your podium sitters for the AMS in race 2, P12 overall but P3 in the AMS. Adrian Hadfield just missing out on the podium in P13 for the AMS then, and Lee Rylands P14, Kevin Randall P15, John Johnston P16, Ayrton Hadfield P17, Darren Morrison P18, Tom Wilson P19, Martin Lee P20, and Conor McKendrick unfortunately wasn't a part of that race by the looks of things. He rounds off your grid in P21 overall, and well, we'll look and see if we have anyone waiting for an interview, shall we say. It doesn't look like we do for tonight. I think there's maybe a little bit of a heat after that race too there between some of the guys at the top of the grid. Thanks everyone for another session of racing and a great commentary, Callum. Appreciate it. Phil across the pond, so thank you very much to yourself and anyone else that did join us tonight in the JPB YouTube channel. Obviously, if you did enjoy the broadcast or any of the racing that we saw tonight, do drop a like on the live stream for us, please, and make sure to subscribe and turn that bell on as well, so you'll get notified every time the JPB channel is live with many broadcasters, many commentators, many different race series. There's something for everyone on this channel then tonight. But one thing I will say before we do sign off here tonight, we don't have anyone for the interview room, but what I will say is one thing that Mr. Johnston wanted me to go over is just remember, if you are part of the Tanso Racing Group or want to get yourselves involved, there is a raffle going on as well at the moment. All details can be found in the Discord there under raffle prize, so make sure you go have a look at that. You can win an iFlag unit worth up to £60 as well, and well, there's only a sort of a handful of people that are involved in that, so your chances of winning it are very high, so make sure you get yourselves involved while you can. And yeah, sign up to have some great racing, as we've seen tonight here at the Nurburgring. So that is it for Germany then for this season, I believe. Let's have a little look, and I'll just read out where we are next. So round 3, we're at the Brands Hatch GP. So we're off to the UK next, then Rudskogen, then VIR, and then back to the UK at Alton Park. But Brands Hatch is the next stop on the calendar. And, well, there'll be a lot of good racing there, I'm sure. It's always a good track and a tough track as well to race around. So I'll be looking forward to seeing what these guys can do around there. But for now, for tonight, from me, myself, and I in the commentary booth, thank you very much for your kind words there, Helen. And well done once again to Darryl Morrison and your team in the 24-hour challenge at Spa, and anyone else that was a part of that as well and watching this back. Well done to all of you. But from me, myself, and I in the booth, in a very hot booth in Germany, we thank you all for joining us here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in a week's time in the UK at the Brands Hatch GP circuit, and well, up for some really good racing, hopefully, coming up. And well, I've just had a look. I've been kind of semi-distracted from the outro because I've just had a look, and it seems that we do actually have a Mr. Harry Fox sitting there waiting to join us in the booth. So let's see if we can get Harry Fox in just before we end off here tonight. There we go. Here he is. So Mr. Harry Fox, welcome into the booth, sir. How are you doing?
Well, a bit tired, man. A bit tired. Also, just come off the back of the Spa 24 as a two-man with Neil. So, yeah, 12.5 hours of racing each, or 12.5 for me and 11.5 for Neil. Oh, wow. Tired.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can imagine you would be tired after that. Well, just out of curiosity for those watching live with us here tonight, where did you finish in the 24?
23rd, I think. Was it like a 49 car split? Not very good at GT3s anymore.
Well, still, that's not a bad result at all. I mean, it's better than I did because I didn't even get out there to do it. So, yeah, fantastic job from you in the 24-hour challenge. But let's focus on the racing then that we had to hear tonight in Germany at the Nurburgring. How do you feel tonight went for yourself? There's a bit of chaos there towards the end of race 2, but overall, how do you think tonight went?
I think, well, considering I had like 6 minutes of practice after sleeping on the sofa, not bad, not bad. I'm pretty happy with the result. It's a real shame about the end, though. I got a message from Alex, basically, just didn't really have enough room. I was literally right on the edge of the circuit at the hairpin, and he just kept coming over, and I think we had a little bit of netcode glue, which is really unfortunate because it would have been a great end to a good race too, really. Yeah. Yeah,
no, it was an unfortunate end, but good, strong pace from you throughout, and I noticed it just towards the end of race 2 there. You seem to really get your speed on the exits of these turns here. Is the Nürburgring kind of a track that you really like and you seem to be really strong at, or is it just happens to be coincidence?
Freak luck. Yeah. Probably would have done better at the alternative chicane. This one is quite a nightmare. The car's not very happy on the curbs, really. But it was still good fun. Good fun. It
certainly looked like it. And you did gain a couple of attempts each time you went around that chicane on the cars ahead, and you'll see that, obviously, if you watch the broadcast back with us. But a fantastic night overall, and some good points for you. Are you looking forward to Brands Hatch on next time out?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a better circuit for me. Always done well there in previous ones. Aside from last season, I think, actually, where I ended up getting a drive-through on the last lap. So, yeah, hopefully not have that happen again.
Yeah, hopefully we don't repeat what happened last season then. But at least this time, when we go to Brands Hatch, you would hopefully have a full night's sleep and full momentum going into that week. But, Harry, I appreciate you joining us in the booth here. Is there anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
I'm going to shout out my bed because I want to go to sleep.
I'm not going to hold you for much longer then. You go and enjoy your bed, have a good sleep, and thank you very much for joining us in the booth tonight. And, well, we look forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch next week.
And you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Harry Fox there, and that is the only interview we have there tonight. So this time we will round it off. Thank you very much for joining us in Germany at the Nurburgring, and we'll take our flight now tonight towards the UK to prep for Brands Hatch. And well, what a race that will be. If there's tonight's anything to go by, we're in for some great action. So from me, myself, and I in the booth once again for the final time, thank you very much. Hope you've all enjoyed watching, and we'll see you in a week's time. Bye bye.